Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by your local Ford store and Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games this afternoon. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it is not only Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, but also Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. What's going on today, guys?
#1 Dan Vladar fan checking in for service.
Are you on the Dan Vladar train?
Oh, yeah, that's our starter, babe.
Dan Vladar, 55
He's going to save us. Yeah, let's go.
All right, we have a lot to get to. If you read the description of the show and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see their predictions, I'm hoping to get there. But there were cuts today. There was a game last night. We are going to do our best to get this whole show in. So let's get right to it. Actually, no, I got to tell you about the Die Hard sale. Got to tell you about the Die Hard sale right now. Couple different options. No better time to get on board to become a Die Hard. We have Red October starting this week. We have, obviously, hockey right around the corner. Charlie pumping out articles. He might be writing one right now. Obviously, all of our great Eagles, Sixers, all the coverage you could possibly want right there at allphly.com. And a couple different deals for $59 for a year, which is roughly, what, $20 savings. You get the hat, these new branded Bills hats that are awesome. And for the $36 price point, you can choose any of our exclusive t-shirts, whatever it is. Jump in, become a diehard. All right, everybody, hit the like button and let's get going. 11 more cuts today, I guess, including Hell J. Grons, who cleared waivers, so he has been assigned. Right. But just running down the list, we have Denver Barkey, Alex Bump, Gendron. It's Alexei Gendron. Gendron. Devin Kaplan, Emil Andre, Hunter McDonald, Ty Murchison, Carson Bjarnason, Alexei Kolosov, and Anthony Richard was waived to eventually be assigned to the Phantoms.
Can't be sent down until tomorrow. Can't
be sent down until he's actually clears waivers.
I don't think he's going to be claimed.
It would be surprising.
Seems unlikely.
It would be surprising. There's only two guys here I think we really need to discuss a ton. The rest, not all that surprising. I guess Tony Dick did have a chance, we thought, but maybe not. Looks like maybe Nikita Grebenkin. We'll get to him in a little bit.
I think Denver Barkey and Gendron both impressed.
Yeah.
But I think their view of both those guys, and I tend to share this, is neither of them are yet physically ready for the NHL.
It was always going to be... It was always going to be those guys getting some time in the AHL.
Yeah.
I guess Kaplan had a chance, but...
There were guys in this list, guys like Kaplan and Hunter McDonald, where had they excelled from the start of camp,
yes,
maybe they could have. But when they just kind of look like guys, they weren't going to make it onto the roster just by looking okay.
All right. Let's go to Alex Bump. We were all very excited by Alex Bump, watching him go through the Frozen Four, getting off to a hot start in the AHL. Charlie said, man, too good for Dev Camp. It's very clear he's like kind of a polished player at this point. The rest of the prospects, it's okay. Didn't show out in camp the way we were hoping. We all kind of penciled him in because, yeah, he's just going to continue on this trajectory of excelling at every level. He definitely wasn't bad. He definitely wasn't overwhelmed. Just didn't show out the way we were all kind of hoping.
Yeah, somebody who had already put aside $30 to buy her Alex Bump jersey this season. Based on what we've seen, it kind of seems like he just continued what he did in the playoffs in the AHL, which again wasn't bad. But I think it was clear watching him in these preseason games that he would benefit from a little bit of seasoning.
Some time to adapt.
Yeah, exactly. And given, how much of a surprisingly good player we're hoping that he's going to be, I think it's worthwhile to just give him the time, let him build up his game a little bit, hopefully get better. And then, maybe if there's some injuries, maybe he gets a couple of games here or there if he's looking good.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's mad
that
he got sent down. I think we all watched him play in preseason. We watched him even play in the rookie games. And he was okay in most games. He was actively poor on Saturday, to be sure. He had that awful turnover and then didn't really respond super well after. He just seemed a little shell-shocked after that end of first period turnover that turns into a goal. I don't think anybody's mad that he got sent down. It seems fair.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed. And I'm not burying the kid. I still think he's going to be a good NHL player. He's showed me a lot. He looks like an NHL player in a lot of ways. The puck finds him. He obviously has good ability along the boards. He has a good shot, even if he hasn't used it. I like the upside. I think he's an NHL player, but I'm disappointed because I was expecting him to excel. I remember we had the conversation this summer, Bill, where you were saying, I'm writing Bump into the lineup. I think he's going to be treated the way Tyson Forrester was in the camp where he made the team. And I said, I disagree. I think that I was predicting that he was going to make the team, but that was because I was expecting him to excel. But I thought he did have to excel in camp to make the team. He didn't excel. He didn't make the team. It's really that simple.
Yeah, and like Charlie said, it's a disappointment, but I don't think it's like this isn't a heartbreaker, right? It's, oh my God, how could they? No, you watched and said he's going to be good. He's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And a little AHL time for a player coming straight from college never hurt anybody. I expect to see him sooner than later, given injuries or just he gets off to an awesome start. And it's like, all right, yeah, man, he has 15 points in 13 AHL games. What are we doing here? I could see any of those things happening. But to start the year, it appears he will be in Lehigh Valley. The only other somewhat surprise here, Emil Andre sent down.
This one people are angry about.
People are upset.
The bump demotion, I think people get. It's a bummer, but it's people get. The Andre one, and this is controversial.
You know what I think it is, Charlie? I think it's even less about the fact that Andre isn't going to start with the team and more about the two remaining players that I'm sure we're going to talk about in a little while are a little, not inspiring a lot of excitement, I would say.
We talked, what was it, earlier this week, yesterday, last week, who's to say? Maybe we're all thinking about what this defense could be, galaxy braining it a little bit, and perhaps they should just choose the best player, the guy with the highest upside, the guy with the ability to make the most plays, and that's Emil Andre. They appear to be going in a different direction.
It's abundantly clear. And we were actually talking, and look, I can't put myself in the mind of Emil Andre. I can't put myself in the mind of anyone. But when we were watching the 11 a.m. practice, it did look like Emil Andre was kind of ticked off because the way that they separated the groups out of practice today was abundantly clear who was getting cut and who wasn't. Everybody in that first group at 11 a.m. was going to get cut. Emil Andre knew even before he had the conversation this afternoon. Surely he had one with Danny telling him he was getting sent down. It's abundantly clear that Emil Andre, if no one got hurt, had essentially zero chance of making this team out of camp, no matter what he did. And I don't think he had an incredible camp, but I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
I thought he looked mostly good in his games. Wasn't perfect, but he made plays. He looked aggressive. He was engineering breakouts. He was carrying the puck up ice. He looked good on the power play last night. It's abundantly clear he had no real chance of making this team because the Flyers decided, and whether Tocchet was a driving force or whether he was a passenger and this was Danny and Jonesy, the Flyers decided that to replace Rasmus Ristolainen in the short term, we are going to need a big defensively oriented defenseman who can kill penalties. I straight up asked Rick Tocchet that today. I didn't specify Emil Andre, but I assume he knew what I was getting at, which is basically, I asked him, was it important for you guys to have size and physicality as this bubble spot on defense? And he basically said, look, Zamula was the 5 going into camp, so Zamula's making the team, so we can end that debate. The 6th guy was going to have to be a guy who killed penalties. It was going to have to be a guy who defended well. That's not Emil Andre. And it's a bummer because it just means that Andre, pretty much no matter what he did, was never winning a spot at camp. The other thing it raises the question of is, does Emil Andre have a spot on this team? Because if they are so adamant that the next spot in this lineup has to be a big physical guy, I don't think Cam York and Jamie Drysdale are going anywhere.
No.
Does Emil Andre fit on this team, period? Is there anything he can do aside from hope that one of those two guys falls flat on his face to carve out a role long-term in this team? I think that's a serious question coming out of a camp when he didn't get a real shot at making the team.
And that's really like, is this one of those, okay, we can see maybe Luchanko, we can see maybe Grebenkin getting, bottom 6, but like when we were talking about Samu Tuamala, we see you in a specific role, and unless Michkov or Konechny, get hurt or traded or whatever, like we don't really see you on the third line, like that's basically what it is. And that's kind of where maybe Andre falls. The one question I'll have now, Zamula as the 5, yeah, he's making the team. We all knew that. He's been an NHL regular, but he's also sucked this preseason.
He's had
real bad.
he's had a real bad
actively-
preseason.
Real
and
bad.
I think he's better than he's been in this preseason, but this is this coaching staff's first look at him, and he has not been good. Could Andre slot into that spot? Like if we have the 6 or one of the 2 guys on the third pair is Juulsen or Jennings or someone who's willing to cross-check you in the head, can the other guy be Emil Andre, puck mover, smaller, not on the PK? Like, do you think that is a spot he could slot in if Andre continues, or if Zamula continues this terrible play
It
that
would
we've seen
be
thus far?
nice.
Or is it probably just like, yeah, man, Juulsen or Gilbert or whoever kind of slots in there instead?
They're just so obsessed with Zamula. It seems like there's nothing he can do to lose his spot on this team at this point, which is kind of frustrating.
Do you think it's a Russian thing?
No.
No,
don't.
they got Grebenkin now. He's got,
Oh, yeah,
they've got,
yeah.
and also he's besties with Trevor Zegras. He doesn't even need Russians anymore, so we're fine. Yeah, I don't know, like Zamula, and I know last year eye test bad, numbers good with Zamula.
It's true.
But I didn't like watching him with my eyeballs. So, like, you know, I would prefer to watch Emil Andre, especially given that, like, was he perfect this preseason? No. But he looked more like first go around Emil Andre than second go around
agree.
Emil Andre. And that guy was fun. And it would have been cool to be able to see him grow into that a little bit. And now I kind of agree with you. I don't know that he's ever going to find a spot on this team. I just don't think that they value what he brings to defense. And I think that's a bummer.
I think I disagree in one way. I do think they value what he brings to defense. I just think that they believe they now have enough of those guys. That's like, it's not as if they don't value small defensemen, because if they didn't value them, they wouldn't have traded for Jamie Drysdale. They wouldn't have signed Cam York to a big extension. It's that they feel like those are their small defensemen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to be open to having a third guy like Andre in that spot. Now, you bring up an interesting point about Zamula. Could Andre jump Zamula? Maybe he could. But I also think that the chances of Zamula not making the roster, period, or even not even making the lineup, were probably less likely than people wanted to believe they were. Like, look, I know people don't love Yegor Zamula. He's not a super fun player. He's not a great skater. He doesn't play with a ton of pace. But we are talking about a guy who last season played 63 games in the NHL, and the season before that played 66. Guys who get those kinds of game numbers in 2 consecutive seasons, generally speaking, aren't playing for a job in preseason. They're not.
Typically, like maybe a spot in the starting 6, or at least it's a data point, but he was always making the team as one of the 7 defensemen that they're going to carry.
And I think maybe some people like possibly convinced themselves that it was a possibility that Zamula was on the bubble. Look, he played as bad as a defenseman could play in last night's game. And then Rick Taka straight up says today, well, yeah, Zamula's our 5. That tells me that he was always treating this camp as a tune-up rather than I need to excel to earn a spot.
In terms of what Andre brings, and then I want to get to Monday's game. In terms of what Andre brings, like, I find it hard to believe Tocchet sees no value in small defensemen when he's been playing Quinn Hughes 25 minutes a night.
Very true.
Like, but that said, maybe it's, yeah, man, if you can do this at an elite level, like a Quinn Hughes, we absolutely value it. But if you're going to be third pair, sheltered kind of guy, maybe you're on a power play, we'd just rather have somebody who's going to go knee to knee on somebody.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's just, listen, yeah, man, we think Jamie Drysdale might have high-end upside, so we are willing to live with him being a smallish defenseman who doesn't bring a physical edge. But if you're just going to be at it, you're just, okay, he's a decent puck mover, but nothing special. Maybe this is our first look at what their philosophy is on that.
I just think Andre's in a tough spot now in this organization because he's clearly reached a point, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but this is my opinion. I think he's clearly reached a point where the next stage of his development is playing in the NHL and learning how to get better at the NHL level. But I don't know if he's going to get that opportunity in this organization. As much as I like Emil Andre, and I like him a lot as a prospect. I guess he's not really a prospect anymore. He was Calder eligible last year, but I like him a lot as a young player. I am starting to think that the best thing for him is to get traded somewhere else where he can play on a third pair at the NHL level and learn on the fly rather than having to sit in the AHL and wait for Jamie Drysdale or Cam York to get hurt.
Yeah.
And that pretty much looks like what his role is for this team. Yeah, man, if we lose one of the guys who might be on our power play or play that role, but otherwise, maybe not. Let's get to Monday's game, and let's talk about something positive now, because 15 minutes of that's a bummer. Dan Vladar, that was fun. A goalie who stops the puck. Now, listen, he only faced 15 shots. That was a low event game of all low event games. The fact that it went to a shootout was like, I don't know, is there some sort of neutral zone trap we could play instead to see who should win this game? Like some sort of game of shinny or something through the neutral zone. But Vladar stops 13 of 15 in regulation. Boston didn't get a shot in overtime. And then Middlestat, Pasternak, and Zacha all come up empty in the shootout. Listen, he faced 15 shots in a 65-plus minute game.
Listen, Marty Brodeur built a whole Hall of Fame career off of that.
Fair point.
He gets to be on Mount Rushmore because he had 15 21-shot shutouts. But Vladdy for his first full game, pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty. I was pretty happy with him. I mean, because honestly, I didn't know what to expect from 60 minutes of the Dan Vladar show. It could have been anything. It could have been real bad, even in a preseason game.
That would be disheartening.
Yeah, he looked pretty solid. And I know you guys talked yesterday about the fact that Erson's numbers were worse than his game the other night. Yes, but also, like, I was in my car listening to it going, how many times did we say that last year?
That's fair.
How many times did we say that? Like, I'm so tired of being like, well, maybe if there weren't so many defensive breakdowns. Like, I don't care anymore about, like, I'm so over the Sam Ersson thing. Do I think Dan Vladar is going to save the Flyers? No, I'm not an idiot. Like, he's a backup goaltender who's probably going to be fine. But it was encouraging to see him play well because it would be very nice not to have our backup goaltender be the worst goalie that's ever played hockey. And it seems like we're going to clear that bar, which is nice.
I hope so.
That would be cool.
It certainly looks like he's not quite as tall as Fedotov, but he is tall. He's a big goalie.
Yeah.
It's nice to watch a big goalie who isn't a complete and total technical mess like Fedotov was. He's a big goalie who plays normal. Whereas Fedotov was a big goalie who played a completely bonkers style.
Plays normal is such a bar for this team. Like, we have a goalie who looks like a goalie.
Yeah.
He probably knows what he's doing. Earlier today, Tyler and I were looking at free agent goalies for like next year for something.
Oh,
and
fun.
Just talking, and he brings up Peter Mrazek, and I was like, had to go, yeah, man, I was like totally sold on Peter Mrazek after 3 games, I think. And then it turned out he couldn't turn left. Like, guys who just know how to play the position are at a premium right now. What I will say about my hope for Vladar, and I don't think it's going to be this kind of season for him, but every year there's just like some mediocre goalie who has an awesome season.
That's true.
Why can't he be Darcy Kemper this year?
Anthony Stolarz, baby.
Kemper
Let's
got
go.
dumped. Like, it was a you're trash for my garbage trade last year in the what was it, the
Dubois.
Yeah, the Dubois trade, and it turned out it worked out well for both teams. Kemper was a freaking Vezina finalist last year.
Yeah.
Now, listen, the Vezina was a joke last year because, like, one guy was going to win and they had to name 2 other finalists. But he still got named. Why can't he be top 10 in Vezina voting this year? There's only, like, 4 good goalies. Maybe he has a 908 year, and we're all like, hell yeah, this is it.
Yeah, and it's a real opportunity for Vladar because, look, I don't think the Flyers organization has the same feelings as you about Sam Ersson.
I know that.
They are significantly higher on him.
Yeah.
But if Ersson's sitting in mid-November with an 890 save percentage and Vladar's over 900, I don't think they're going to be so loyal to Ersson as to keep just tossing him the majority of the starts.
That would be weird.
Vladar could take this job. There is an opportunity for him to secure a lion's share of the starts in this tandem and turn Sam Ersson into a number 2 if Vladar outplays Ersson, and he's going to get enough starts to have the opportunity to do it. Now he just has to do it.
If this season is about being better, maybe being competitive even through, the new year after the Olympic break and internal competition, that should extend to the goaltender as well.
Yep.
We know that they like Sam Ersson and they want to give him a chance to prove them right, basically. But the coach is going to sit there going, I like winning. Personally, I like it when the goalie stops more pucks. And he is going to get the say on who plays every night. I would assume that's the coach's job, along with Kim Dillabaugh. But like, I don't see a world in which, Ersson's been worse, but he's going to start 55 games because we like him more.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
No.
They signed Vladar to a 2-year deal. It's not as if this is a 1-year prove it type of thing where they don't have anything tied to him after the season. Hey, they want him to work out too. Now, maybe they have more invested in Ersson because they drafted him and they developed him, but they could easily switch that over to Vladar. He's older than Ersson, but he's not that much older, and goalies do tend to develop a little bit later.
All right, I want to get to talk about who is left in this defensive battle, some things from last night's games. And if we have time, the predictions. I doubt it, but we'll see. First, let's take that first break. The beautiful time is upon us, the best time of the sports year. It is coming. We're talking about next Thursday, just a little more than a week away. We are going to have the Birds in prime time. We are going to have potentially a Game 4 Red October playoff baseball game and Flyers opening night. That's right. It could all be happening at once. And if you're like, I don't want to have to choose, I don't want to be going between 10 different apps to figure this out, well, then you got to get Xfinity. Xfinity is the only choice if you call yourself a sports fan, because it's the ultimate sports destination. You find all the best games and your favorite teams all in one place. And the way you watch, you know how great it is. It's next level with the enhanced 4K picture and sound. So clear, it's like you're in the arena. It's the perfect fan flex. You get all the action right in your living room. And the quad box, you're going to need multiple games going at once coming up. You're going to need multiple games at once coming up just as soon as Thursday. All the baseball playoffs going on, whatever it is, you got to get Xfinity, and you get all those real-time notifications and live stats to stay on top of all your parlays and your fantasy teams as well. So next game day, make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires 4K capable TV box. While we're here, speaking of parlays, time to talk about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. That's right. I've been telling you about Bet365 for years now. It is my sports book of choice because of the 90 million users worldwide, because of the 800,000 live stream events, and the early payouts. That's right, the early payouts. I've told you about them in hockey. I've told you about them in the NBA. But Major League Baseball as well. Bet365 early payout offer. As soon as your team goes up 5 runs, you're a winner. If you bet the money line or if you have a team in your parlay, they open up a 5-run lead, you win. Don't need to see how the game finishes out. It's that simple. And right now we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do, sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Defense.
The guys actually played decently well last night.
Franz is gone.
For the first time, the guys on the bubble played pretty well. Now, Zamula played terribly, but I thought everybody else was fine.
Franz is gone. Now Andre is gone. Zamula, apparently he's not on the bubble. It wasn't terrible last night. I mean, they held a team to 15 shots through 65 minutes. That's a pretty freaking good performance.
And David Pasternak, Charlie McAvoy, they had
an NHL lineup.
They had some horses in the lineup, and team defense is pretty good.
So where do we see this going? When we look at what the pairs and everything were last night in the last night's starting lineup, where do we think this is going? Because I think it was Kevin Kurz tweeted he just sees it being Juulsen and Ginning. Do you think that's the way it's headed? Does Gilbert still have a chance? Maybe he's the extra. Maybe all 3 of those guys kind of rotating on the third pair. Is this what it's going to come down to on defense?
Well, based on what they ran today in practice, I'm not convinced it's quite that simple. So the practice pairings that they ran today, it was the reunion of York Sanheim. That makes sense. Then you had Sealer Drysdale. Also makes sense. Then you had Jinning or Yinning. We got clarity today. He now again wants to be called Yinning, so he's back to Adam Yinning.
Fine.
But
You got to pick a lane, bud.
but
Charlie's got a job to do.
Yinning was paired with Zamula. And then you had Juulsen paired with Gilbert. Now, to my knowledge, it seems like Zamula is going to be in the lineup. That would imply that right now they're taking a look at maybe Yinning being the 6th to start the year, being on a pair with Zamula. However, I did ask Rick Tocchet today if they've made any decisions yet on whether they're going to be keeping, like, because I think they're going to have a 23-man final roster. But they could do 14 forwards and 7 defensemen, or they could do 13 forwards and 8 defensemen. If they do 8 defensemen, that means they could keep all 3 of these guys. They could keep Yinning, they could keep Gilbert, and they could keep Juulsen. And basically what Tocchet said was, look, that's a decision we're going to make as a group. However, I, as in Rick Tocchet, prefer running with 8 defensemen. So Tocchet is most likely going to be pounding the table that it's easier in practice to have 8 defensemen. It just makes everything much more clean. That would imply that all 3 of them might make the team if Tocchet wins. My guess is that Yinning is in the starting lineup. Juulsen is the extra. Gilbert goes back.
Interesting.
Even though I think Gilbert has outplayed Juulsen, Rick Tocchet coached Juulsen for 2 years in Vancouver. And after last night's game, when Tocchet was asked to give his evaluation of the defenseman, first guy he named, Noah Juulsen. Just seems like Juulsen's his guy.
That's his Andrew McDonald, baby.
Hey.
Now, it's a little disappointing that, like, Emil Andre isn't going to get the chance. Oliver Bonk never got a chance because he's been banged up.
Yeah.
But I will say good for Adam Yinning. I'll say good for him that listen, we talked about this defensive battle, and it was like, Charlie in his article was like, the fact that Yinning even has a chance is kind of, I'm saying his name as much as possible.
And it's true.
To try to commit
Yeah.
it. Like, the fact that he even has a chance when it seemed like he was going to be Wade Allison, Ronnie Adder, J.R. Avon, like, all right, man, we're good.
I, for one,
We've seen enough.
Yeah.
Good for him that he got himself from there to potentially game 1.
Yeah.
Game 1 against the defending champs. Like, maybe that has something to do with it as well. Like, yeah, man, we got Florida. Emil Andre, the guy who can't protect himself.
Well,
we see them twice in the first 3 games. Maybe not the matchup for him. Maybe it should be the, what is he, 6'4", 205 Adam Yinning. Perhaps that has something to do with it. But if they need the big guy, they need a dude who can kill penalties and do all that. Here's his chance, and he earned it, I guess.
Yeah, what I'll say is that, and I've been open about this for, I mean, God, he was taken in 2018. So we're coming up on 7-8 years.
Yeah, he'll be 26 in January.
7-8 years of Adam Yinning. I have never been an Adam Yinning fan. From the day he was drafted, I thought it was a dramatic overdraft. I think he's a limited defenseman. I think at best he's a 3rd pair guy. I don't think he's a particularly good skater. I don't particularly care for his hockey sense, especially with the puck. So this is coming from a place of me not being a fan of Adam Yinning, the player. I think he's had a good camp, and I thought he had a very good game last night. And given the fact that no one on this blue line bubble has stepped up.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Sure. You know what, dude? You earned it. Yeah. Props to you.
I do remember it was the that little 9 game in 2023-24 when he came up and played 9 games. I remember thinking, like, he doesn't look out of place. He did spend a decent amount of time in the defensive zone, which is always, okay, you kind of need to get play moving the other way. But when he was out there, I thought he was decent. Now, let's see if he can hold that up. It's 2 years later. Let's see if he can hold that up over a season-long sample size, perhaps. But I'm good for him, like, working his way into this roster, at least for the time being, while Rasmus Ristolainen is out and while none of these other young guys stepped up. Someone was going to get this job, and he seems to have maybe at least the inside track on it right now. We get a chance. We get a chance to see this guy. Like I said, he's going to be 26 in January. This is very much like you're an NHL player or you're not.
Yeah.
He's got a chance to prove it now, and he's got a chance to make a career in the big leagues.
He's getting a look. He's gotten looks before. He hasn't been able to stick. It looks like he's going to get a legitimate audition this time. Maybe there's something there. Maybe he can establish himself as a quality 3rd pair defenseman. Look,
I'll be shocked
if he can push out Zamula and actually do it by producing and delivering solid underlying metrics and not just by hitting people, I'm not going to shed a tear because Zamula hasn't terribly impressed me either. If Yinning outplays Zamula, and hey, when Risto comes back, it's Zamula who goes to the bench and Yinning stays in the lineup, I'm cool with that. But he obviously has to go out there and do it.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I just have like kind of a random question that you might not even be able to answer, Charlie. But given that we know how much Tocchet loves Juulsen, if he's the guy in the press box and it's Yinning Zamula on the third pair, like last year it was Emil Andre that was like the short leash guy. Like, do you get a sense of like who would be the guy on the defense that has the shortest leash before Rick Tocchet smashes the Juulsen glass, which I'm sure he will do at some point?
I guess like the easy answer is Yinning because he's the last guy in the sharpest spot. But I don't think we know.
Okay.
Because this is a new coaching staff.
Yeah.
It's possible that Rick Tocchet, after a month and a half of the Jaeger Zamula experience, decides he just doesn't like him, and then Zamula gets jumped by Yinning. Everybody is going to be evaluated with a fresh set of eyes now because it's an entirely new coaching staff. I would think in the beginning of the year, it's probably Yinning who has the shortest leash because, hey, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know if he was going to be on this roster by the end of October. My roster, I mean like organization. And now he has a good chance of making the team. So right now he probably has the shortest leash, but things can change quick when you have a new coaching staff.
I'm so worried about this third pair. I think it's going to be a disaster.
My question now, right now, let's say they have the D pairs running the way you broke them down, and it's the 8 guys, and we have York and Sanheim reunited, 2 lefties. Seal or Drysdale, they like that pair, at least we've seen it in the past, and they've liked it organizationally. 1 righty there, lefty-righty, cool. This is a really left-handed defense, and I know we've been through this before. The righties this is why there's at such a premium. Yeah. Do you think they have any discomfort going Zamula, Yinning, I do. Both being lefties?
I do, because Tocchet straight up said he likes lefty-righty pairings. Sure. I think that was the reason why Kevin Kurz speculated. That might have been informed speculation. He may have talked to someone about why he speculated on Twitter yesterday that Juulsen was going to be in the lineup because, hey, he's the only righty left in camp on the bubble after they jettisoned Grans, and now they jettisoned Grans. He was on waivers yesterday. I think that's probably his line of thinking is, well, Tocchet said he wants lefty-righty. This guy's the only righty left. I guess he's probably going to do it. Now, is that definite? No, because Juulsen hasn't had a good camp. But he did play for Tocchet. He does like Juulsen. Maybe it's that simple.
All right. I want to talk about another positive from last night. The return of Tyson Foerster and the Noah Cates line. Wow. If there's any group that's going to benefit directly from Rick Tocchet being like dump and chase, possession, whatever, these guys on the forecheck just wreak havoc. Before the goal, they had they had a shift, maybe their first shift of the game, where they were just getting turnovers, getting second chances, putting pressure on the hashes behind the net. It eventually pays off. Brink and Foerster combined to get a puck out to Cates. They score the goal. They were impressive, and Tyson Foerster looked like Tyson Foerster.
He did. I very much liked what I saw from Foerster, and it's just a relief because obviously there was concerns about his readiness for the start of the year. At times in the summer, there were reports saying that he was going to miss extended time. It's great to see him back, and not just back, but playing well, because it's so important, at least from my perspective, it's so important for him to get a good start because his last 2 seasons, his end of season numbers have been deflated by the fact that he's gotten off to slow starts. I was worried that even if he was in the lineup for game 1, he was going to get off to a slow start because he didn't have a full summer, because he didn't have a full camp. That could still happen. It's possible. But the guy who played last night did not look like someone who's going to get up to a slow start. He looked like a guy who's hit the ground running.
He looked like the guy at Worlds that Sidney Crosby apparently can't stop telling Rick Tocchet how much he loves him. Yeah. And I don't know. That seems like pretty good company. Jett Luchanko. I think everyone liked Luchanko's game last night. He definitely flashed, and they gave him a lot of ice time, over 19 minutes. No points. Didn't really register any stats. He is a -1 in the game, but it did kind of feel like he was starting to show a little more of what he can do with the puck.
He definitely looked better than he has in previous games, which was promising. Because I've been kind of I'm asking myself the question if I am more in favor of Rodrigo Abols making this team than Jett Luchanko. Like, what has happened to me as a person on the inside? But he hasn't blown the doors off in a way that I would have hoped that he did. He didn't make it impossible to send him back to Guelph, and that kind of sucks. But he certainly, I mean, last night I think was promising. It seemed like a step in the right direction.
One thing I heard today was that one of the reasons, number one, a big reason why they're giving Luchanko this long of a look is because they just like him. They like him a lot, and they know that unlike with Bump, where you can send him down to the AHL, call him up in 2 weeks if he's killing it, this is a final decision for Luchanko. So they're going to give him as long of a look as possible, and they probably lean towards wanting to keep him. But what I heard today was the concept of you have to understand that Luchanko basically first day of camp was more or less like the first time he's been doing formal anything because he missed the entirety of rookie camp, and they feel like he is trending upwards after maybe getting off to a slow start at camp because he was mostly kept off the ice due to the injury.
Gotcha. So
I'll buy it.
So maybe we would have seen last night's Luchanko 3 games ago if he had. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't make this excuse with like a dude that Chuck Fletcher had drafted.
Probably not.
I know, but he should get
But no, it makes sense. I'm not saying it's just a BS excuse. It makes sense. It does feel like, though, there is a little bit of, like Charlie speculated with the Nesbitt stuff and Luchanko making the team last year. Well, we know that these picks weren't the most popular. Perhaps we got to pump them up a little bit. I do feel a little bit of that, but I will say, based on what we saw, it is trending up.
Yeah. No, this was his best game. Wasn't perfect. I know a lot of people on social media were particularly irritated by his pass happy ways, which may just be something y'all are just gonna have to get used to. Y'all just might have to get used to that. I think that like he'll shoot more when he develops, but he's always going to be an extreme pass first guy. That's just his mentality. And I know that there are a few things that anger Flyers fans more than guys who won't shoot the puck. You just may have to deal with that. That just
yell and shoot.
You just may have to deal with it. But aside from that, I thought he was good. I thought he made good defensive plays, that he was making good plays along the boards. He was showing his speed, especially in the first period. This version of Luchanko deserves to be in the race. And he clearly is because he's still with the main group.
Now, you did have even a tweet about it last night, Charlie. I know you're saying everyone just might need to get used to it, but you were like, damn, man, maybe just shoot once. Yeah. And I was like, Mr. Analytics over here finally comes full circle. He's one of us. Shoot.
Yelling shoot.
But I don't think I sent it because I didn't want you to misinterpret it as me actually making fun of you, Charlie. We value your work.
Make fun of me.
I know.
But going back to the Luchanko stuff for a second, it's funny from my perspective that it's come full circle for me, because last year I was very anti Luchanko. I was like, this is stupid. Why are they putting him on the team? This is insane.
Yeah.
This year I am significantly more open to it in an environment where I get the sense that more fans than not are anti Luchanko being on the team. Whereas last year I was saying like, this is a dumb idea, it's bad, and people were yelling and screaming at me like, how can you not see how great this kid is? This year I'm like, yeah, I'd put him on the team. I don't have a problem with that. And there are a lot of people who are very opposed to it. My reasoning as to why I put him on the team, and I think this is really the big distinction this year from last year for me. While I was legitimately worried last season about whether it was the best thing for his development, what really irked me more than anything was that I just didn't think he deserved it. I didn't think he deserved to make the team. I didn't think he played well enough. And one of the reasons for that was because my thought process was there are players in camp who are outplaying him. Anthony Richard did not make the team last year. You cannot tell me that Anthony Richard did not outplay Jett Luchanko in camp last year. He was better. He was producing offensively. He was just as fast as Luchanko. Yeah, he was a winger versus center. He was outplaying. Emil Andre didn't make the team out of camp last year. I thought he deserved to be on the roster over Luchanko, but they had this idea, we need to have Luchanko on the roster, and that bothered me because, as I've said on multiple occasions, I know the world isn't fair, but I wish it was, and that struck me as unfair. This year, okay, Kelly said Rodrigo Abols deserves a spot over Luchanko. I agree. I think him and Grebenkin have outplayed Jett Luchanko. But guess what? That's only 13 forwards. They can keep 14 forwards. And I think Jett Luchanko, out of the guys who are still at camp, has been, or at least has a strong case to be, considered the 14th best forward still at camp. Jacob Gaucher has been okay. I think I've liked what Luchanko has done more. Maybe you can make a case for Alexei Gendron or Denver Barkey, but I think both those guys just physically aren't ready for the NHL in a way that Luchanko is. So I have zero issue with putting Luchanko on the roster because unlike last year, I think he's actually earned it this year.
And there is the finality of the decision. Like, why not? If it's Rodrigo Abols, like, all right, we can call him up. You know, yeah, he has to go through waivers, right? Yeah, he has to be waived, but
Yes.
I don't see him getting claimed when everyone else is trying to get their
I think it's unlikely
quad A
Abols will
guys,
get claimed.
their quad A guys through. You know, he's still here, so it would be at the very end. Like, I can see the reasoning for it to just give him the longer look again because I want to see more. He hasn't shown me enough yet, but I think he may. And if that's the thinking, like, listen, we get 9 games. It doesn't have to be 9. It can be 4 like last year, and he was here for like, what, 6 or 7, and then they were like, okay, he's sitting now. We got to send it back.
He played 4, but was there for
yeah.
longer because he saw some games.
Like, if you get the 9 games, let's see it. And if it doesn't come all together, well, back to Guelph you go.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Abols, congratulations, you're in the NHL. And I don't think you lose a ton there.
No, and also, I mean, like, if you really think about it, even though Abols has been better on ice results-wise, and he's been really fun to watch, like, no one's thinking Rodrigo Abols is going to be a part of this team when we're pushing for a Stanley Cup. So, like,
seems unlikely.
You know, like, development-wise, it might make more sense to have a worse Jett Luchanko playing on the 4th line in kind of a development role than having Rodrigo Abols scoring fun goals sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Abols can make this team with Luchanko.
Yeah.
It's just Abols would probably start this season out in the press box rather than in the lineup.
The way I'm thinking about it now, when you said, and we'll see how the organization wants to do it, but if Tocchet loves 8 defensemen, maybe it's only 13.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, and you're right. If they keep 8 defensemen, then it is a decision between Luchanko and Abols. Well, Luchanko, Abols, and Gaucher, who is still in the mix. Maybe there's a world where Gaucher shocks everybody. I don't think Gaucher is beating Abols, but Gaucher could beat Luchanko if they decide they don't want to put him on the roster. It's possible.
All right, we have a little bit more to talk about in the roster battles. I want to get into Kaprizov's contract because there's a point I want to make about it with Mish, but first we got to take a break. Oh, you know I love this time of year. Fall is here. It's the crisp air. Sports every single day. All different games, all different sports are happening. And for big guys like me, you're not sweating nearly as much. But just because it isn't hot out doesn't mean you don't need to make sure you're smelling right. And that's why we are proud to partner with Mando, because you're getting down, maybe you're going down to the tailgate, you got the lucky jersey on, and perhaps smelling a little bit too lucky. We know after a long day, we know in these instances, regular deodorant doesn't cut it, but there's a real game changer, and it's Mando deodorant with sweat control. It's not just another cover-up. Mando is one stick with 2 jobs, powerful odor and sweat control, and it actually stops odor before it even starts. There's no more masking, just freshness. It's got clinical strength sweat control. One swipe and you're good to go. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. And after just 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works. It's deodorant re-engineered to stop odor before it starts. It's got premium ingredients, double protection for sweat and odor, and Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and of course, free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get up to 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code PHLY at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide with free shipping. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Keep those grundles fresh, ladies and gentlemen.
Please.
I think it's a man-only product, but I can't see why anyone can't use it. Anyway, now it's time to tell you about the Game Time app. Again, sports happening every single day for the next couple of weeks. You are going to want to get down to the sports complex and check everything out. The best way to do it, it's with our friends at Game Time. We know Game Time has an awesome app. It's my favorite secondary ticket marketplace because you get the panoramic seat view, you get the money back guarantee, you get everything you're looking for from a ticketing app, plus the all-in pricing. There's nothing worse than you get to the very end, you think you know how much you're spending, and then boom, they hit you with extra fees. They show you everything up front at Game Time, and that is what makes it my favorite ticketing app. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right. I am not hopeful we're going to get to predictions today, so we'll do all of our predictions, NHL and otherwise, next Tuesday when Kelly's here again. Yeah, I want to do it when we're all here, and that's the best time.
Well, I won't be here on Tuesday.
You won't be here.
I will be in Florida already.
We might have to figure something else out then.
We might need to get you on an extra show, Kelly.
I mean, okay.
All right.
Yeah. You insist.
Congratulations, you're full time. If I had my way. All right, I want to hit the other stuff than we had planned. Let's go to the Trevor Zegras thing that I just really, really love this comment. It was sent to me. It was sent to me on Twitter. I think they tagged you and I, Kelly. I'm not positive, but this was from a Wish article at ESPN.
Yeah, it just came out today.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
And there's just a question in here that I think people who want to hear this stuff are going to absolutely love it. And it's, what does Zegras want people saying about him after his first season in Philadelphia? And Trevor says, I want them to go from saying he's good at hockey to he's a hockey player. I think there are a lot of guys that are good at hockey. After this season, I'd rather be known as somebody who is a hockey player. And that just sounds like something that's going to make Rick Tocchet play him 20 minutes a game.
I know, Charlie. I know what he's getting at.
I know, Charlie.
It just makes me roll my eyes so friggin' much.
I know it does.
Spoon feeding that directly to the coach.
Yeah. And you know what?
And Flyers fans, honestly.
He knows the narrative about him. And listen, it's stupid hockey talk. He's a hockey player versus good at hockey. Does it matter? No. Score a bunch of goals and I don't care if you call yourself a figure skater. But like, you can say you're a rugby player, whatever. It's what they call the Eagles anymore anyway. But like, the fact that he understands what the narrative is and what he needs to do to change it, this is, like you said, it was reported. Listen, he's coming in with the right attitude. He's not coming in like, I was on the cover of video games and this team sucks. I'm better than everyone. He wanted to come in and show that he is the guy who was on the cover of video games, and it's just a bad coach and some injuries have held him back over the last couple of years. It's just another stupid little thing that makes me hopeful that this Trevor Zegras thing is going to be one of those moves we look back on and go, thank you, Danny. Thank you. You pulled one out for us.
Also interesting that maybe not every hockey player wants sunshine and palm trees and beach.
He did say that, apparently.
And he doesn't care about taxes.
Yeah.
I'm just envisioning the scene from Miracle when Herb Brooks goes into the locker room and shames the guy into playing through injury, and he's just like, I am a hockey player.
Exactly. Listen, it doesn't matter. The generations change. The kids are different, but there's always a little bit of that. Hockey will always be hockey in that way.
Yes.
And I just appreciate that he recognizes it. That's all.
I told you
it's
that
a dumb thing.
Everything I had been hearing over the summer was that he was coming in with the mentality of not I'm doing this to get back at all the people who doubted me, but that he's very aware of the perception and he wants to change it.
Listen, if you have to make stupid crap up in your head, the greatest basketball player of all time did that every single day. Make stupid crap up in your head. Try to prove wrong a coach who's never going to coach in the NHL again. Try to prove Pat Verbeek wrong, that he chose the wrong guys. Whatever you have to do to motivate yourself, if it results in him scoring a bunch of goals and the Flyers winning a bunch of games, hooray for us.
And Bill, he doesn't need to make anything up. Like, crap.
Yeah.
All he needs to do literally is flip on any one of like all of Petey's appearances on this show
Oh
this
my
summer
God.
and just have them on repeat. This is what hockey men say about him. That they all say it about Zegras. They all just have, and it like bothers them that Trevor Zegras exists.
Yes.
Yes.
Man, he can really dangle through cones, but can he dangle through a 6'5" defenseman? Like, that's the perception of Trevor Zegras, and he knows it.
I mean, I don't think it's fair.
Need a guy that's fun,
but it's real. It's a real perception in hockey.
And listen, we've had fun with Petey. I like Petey a lot. He has his thoughts about hockey.
Petey's great. I just disagree with him on Zegras.
20 or 25 years as an NHL video coach. Like, he clearly knew what he was doing. Guess who he coached under for years? Rick Tocchet. Like, do you think that he's ever texted him once? Like, they've had this conversation, I bet. You know, like, just this is what he needs to do, and by all accounts, at least at the moment, he's doing it.
Before we continue, we're at 158 likes. Let's get to 200 likes by the end of the show. We got 10 minutes.
We got 10 minutes.
Let's do it.
I'm going to do this Kaprizov thing, and then we will get to super chats. You have that amount of time to get us. What do we need? 41 likes now.
41 likes.
I can't believe I did that math.
That was great.
There's the rookie numbers.
I had to count on I was trying to figure out a couple days ago on Philadelphia how long ago 2017 was, and I just couldn't do it, so I had to be like 18, 19. And Tyler's like, are you counting on your fingers right now?
That's right.
Yes, I absolutely am.
Sure is.
Anyway, so Kirill Kaprizov has signed the richest contract in the history of the National Hockey League. 8 years, $136 million. It kills Leon Draisaitl's average annual value of $14 million, the previous high. And it's even more than Alex Ovechkin's mega deal was back when he signed, like, I don't know, a 100-year contract or whatever it was. His total value was $124 million. Oh, that was only 8 years. $124 million over 8 years. It is slightly under Ovechkin's cap percentage at the time. This is a huge contract for what is definitely a superstar. But if Kirill Kaprizov had hit the open market and he's going to be the highest paid player in hockey, would you want to spend that on a winger when you don't have a 1C? That's my only question.
Well, if we're doing this wing thing, I'll take one that good. Yes. I don't know.
He is awesome.
Because once again, where are we getting the 1C? I don't know. If we
just get good players.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Figure
get good players. Figure it out.
I mean, I get what you're getting at, which is essentially Kirill Kaprizov is a superstar. He's a superstar level player.
100%.
But he is not a generational talent.
He is not Connor McDavid.
In the way that Connor McDavid, Alex Ovechkin, he's not that. No one is arguing that Kirill Kaprizov is on their level where, like, Alex Ovechkin's best goal scorer of all time. Connor McDavid could easily end his career as viewed as one of the 10 best players of all time. Kirill Kaprizov is not that, and he is getting a contract comparable to that. The one thing that you do have to take into account, though, and I know when we're using percentages, it is technically taking into account the cap ceiling. But the general assumption, even more so than back then, is that this cap ceiling is going to go up dramatically every year in the foreseeable future, and I believe this contract is operating under that assumption.
It's why the players were okay with basically getting nothing in the CBA, because they were shown the shiny numbers, and they're like, yeah, cool, keep the trains on the tracks.
Yeah.
And listen, if everyone's making more money, like the league minimum is going to be over $1 million soon, that's good for the players. But I do think, yes, absolutely, more back then, I do think there was an idea of, yeah, these owners are going to do whatever they can to make sure we never have, you know, a $95 million, $100 million cap. And now we see it's taken 20 years, but here we are. They are going to have that level of money to spend. So it can get spread around. It's over 16% now. That number, if the cap keeps going up, will obviously decrease.
Obviously, yeah.
Do you think McDavid gets more? Obviously, McDavid should ask for 20% based on value.
Worth more.
The maximum you can get is 20% against the cap, whatever year you sign is. Do you think he asks for more? Because I take McDavid as a guy who's going to go in like he did in his last negotiation. He went in and said, "Don't worry, I'm not asking for 20%."
Yeah, because hockey players are so dumb and boring. They really every time.
And they want to win in a hard cap league. It is difficult.
Hit the market and let the best team pay you the most money. Like, just because you hit the market doesn't mean you have to go to a crappy team that's not going to win.
Okay.
Like, you're Connor McDavid, you're going to have your pick. Every single team is going to try to be moving assets to get enough money free to sign you. Like, you're going to be able to go wherever you want.
Guys don't like to move.
They hate
Moving
moving.
sucks.
They're so boring.
The way I'm going to
Why would you want
tie...
to stay in Minnesota with Bill Guerin's red face looking at you every day? Like, it's just do something fun one time.
The way I'm going to tie this to the Flyers is if now it's not even premium, yes, superstar player, but not at a premium position. But if if guys are going to get paid this way, even if they're not top pair defensemen or number one centers, I really, really need Danny to do everything he can to get Matvei Michkov to sign one of those dumb long-term post-ELC contracts.
100%.
He is eligible on July 1st, 2026. 2026. I don't want it to go to July 2nd.
No.
You get him in at the 10 or 12 or whatever the hell it's going to cost because there's RFA years in there.
Yeah.
Because we are looking at $20 million for wingers now, which is not a thing I really thought was going to happen.
You got to lock him up instantly.
Jack Hughes did the dumb thing and signed the long-term deal right after his ELC. He is locked up 8 years, $8 million.
Yeah.
We need something like that to happen with Matvei Michkov.
Price of the brick keeps going up.
It doesn't go down.
Doesn't go down unless we have a global pandemic. Then it goes down.
Yeah, then it stays then it stays flat forever.
It stays flat forever.
And yeah, the billionaire owners are like, but my yacht, do you know what gas is going for? Anyway, I just really, really need Danny to go as hard as he can to get that 8-year lockdown contract July 1st.
They're probably already talking about it.
Well, I don't know about that. I think they want to see what he does this year first. Not that they're like not going to sign him, but I think both sides are probably like, well, I mean, there's a big difference between Michkov scoring 70 points and Michkov scoring 100. You get put into an entirely different bracket.
Yeah.
They
should just be planning for the 100 points that are obviously coming. Yeah.
Is a sophomore slump the best
that's
thing? The best thing for the Flyers? Are we rooting for the sophomore slump?
Settle down.
Isn't that kind of what worked with McKinnon?
Yeah.
McKinnon took a little bit longer to get good, and then therefore he was on a bargain of a contract during the years when Colorado was gunning for cups.
The sickest player in the league.
Yeah, and
same thing kind of happened in basketball with Steph Curry.
Yeah, and then they still cheaped out on
on Rantanen.
on Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
All right, we have 9 super chats. Super chats are back
They
as
are
the
back.
season
Let's go.
as the season is upon us. So let's hit these super chats today. Of course, we have one from JH, and he is of course talking about the same thing we are. 274 days until number one daddy comes home.
McDaddy.
Is that what it says?
God.
Yeah.
No, I just said that.
Okay. I can't see when it's this far
That's all
away.
right.
But yeah, now that Kaprizov is off the table, we all just have to cross our fingers. I am willing to give the 20% to McDavid and circumvent the cap a la Kawhi Leonard, whatever we have to do.
Yeah. Just get him to do some Xfinity commercials for $200 million a year.
Step up, Fram.
Yeah, come on.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I probably shouldn't do this, but listen, we're partners.
We're just
We love
spitballing
Xfinity.
here.
All right, another one here from JH. Did Andre kick Danny Briere's dog? And what dirt does Juulsen have on the front office?
Nothing. He's just besties with the coach.
Yeah,
We just
Yes,
know
it's
we've
the talking
seen this
connection.
time and time again.
Coaches
and
love these dudes.
Kelly and I were talking about it before Charlie got here. No matter how good a coach is, they all have that guy,
They got a
that
guy.
blind spot where it's like, I know he's going to make mistakes, but I know what the mistakes
You know exactly
are.
which ones. Exactly.
I know what's coming. Some coaches pretty much every coach does this. I don't know if there's one who doesn't.
I want to talk about that, but before I talk about that, let's go to overtime because this is going to be a little bit of an extended conversation here. So we're going to overtime.
Hit overtime.
Overtime.
Go to allphly.com to keep watching today's show.
There we go. So I was thinking about this today, about that we may need to, like, the idea of Rick Tocchet just loving Noah Juulsen and cutting him a break. It's obviously new because Rick Tocchet's a new coach, but it's not new, as you mentioned, for most coaches. Most coaches have their guys. Their guys they're irrationally in love with. But it may take us a little bit of time to get back used to, because I would argue that John Tortorella was the rare coach who really didn't do that. Because say what you will about John Tortorella, okay? John Tortorella, generally speaking, when he liked a guy, they were actually good. The Flyers really didn't have guys under Torts that were like, oh, he's his Andrew McDonald. Torts,
He had a dude in New York, didn't he?
okay, I'm talking about in Philly.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like I don't think John Tortorella ever was like, man, Yeager's a mole. He's awesome. He's like, yeah, he's a guy. Whatever.
That's
No
true.
big deal. What John Tortorella did not irrationally fall in love with players.
He had guys
but
he
he
disliked.
irrationally disliked players.
Yes.
So it was the reverse. It was most coaches have their guys, whereas Tortorella really didn't have his guys. And when he did
The
have his guys, they
anti-guys.
were guys like Noah Cates or Scott Lawton. We're like, they're actually good at hockey. But he very much had guys that he irrationally disliked. Now we're going back to normal, where normally coaches have guys they irrationally like. And Tocchet is a normal coach, unlike John Tortorella, who was, yeah, when I like a guy, I'm usually right. But when I don't like a guy, often he's actually good, and I just hate him for random reasons.
Just don't like him because he's good at hockey.
Don't like his face.
I would say the closest thing we had to it with Torts was Ayerson after that first year we got those 10 games, and he was like, oh my God, a goalie. Okay. This guy's my guy. But obviously, Ayerson didn't live up to that.
Right.
And maybe comparable is Forster making the team that first year.
Yeah.
Because he already was like, oh, he was so good in that call-up. He's penciled in my mind.
But again, he ultimately was proven right because
these are
Forster's
not
good.
This is not a bad player.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with the closest thing
I think
comparable.
that's my point, is that, look, Torts had his flaws.
That's fair.
But I think generally speaking, Torts recognized
He hated everybody.
Torts correctly recognized when players were good. However, sometimes he unfairly pegged a good player as bad.
Just someone who rankled him.
Like if he's like,
Yeah.
Noah Cates, real good, he's got to play all the time. Yeah, Torts, you're right. I'd much rather you fall in love with Noah Cates as opposed to a Noah Juulsen. But he also would decide that Cam York stunk because, like, he didn't yell.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like this guy keeps
Until
rolling
he
his
did.
eyes at me. I hate him. Like,
Yeah.
all right. Marco Belcher 5-hole. That's a good point, Charlie. Marco Belcher 5-hole. I was the roll on bump based on Hershey playoff guy, but I'm a big fan. I think it's better being left wing 1 and power play 1 and basically focus on Lehigh Valley versus left wing 3. I'm disappointed. I think he could hold his own and ultimately have a good rookie season if he made this team out of camp, Alex Bump, but he's not gonna, and he didn't really earn it.
Nope.
That's fine with me.
If I had to guess about Bump, I think part of it may be what Belchior said about, like, he still needs to get used to playing through contact and dealing with stick checks and things like that. But I also have a feeling that he was pressing, because I wonder if you could go back and rewind rookie camp. If you give him 2 goals in the rookie games, or if he scores a goal in his first preseason game, if he plays freer. And if he plays freer, maybe the rest of his game looks more effective. Now, that didn't happen. He, a couple guys hit post. He missed on some opportunities in the rookie game. I just wonder if he was pressing because he's like, I'm a scorer, I got to score, and I haven't scored. And then suddenly things spiraled a little bit out of control. That's why I'm hopeful that maybe within 10, 15 games of his AHL career, he's racking up the points again. And then it's like, yeah, we got to call him back up.
I am hopeful that that will be the case, that he'll just kind of make it so that they can't keep him in the AHL. All right, from Adam S. Charlie really jinxed Andre by calling him a second pair D-man last season. He hasn't looked the same since. Any chance they trade him and a pick for someone they actually want to use? 2 things I want to say about this. Maybe Andre, because people started to like him, is the closest we have to irrational hate from Torts.
Torts had lots of irrational hate.
Yeah.
Lots of irrational hate.
2, the thing about trading him is, look at this blue line. His value couldn't possibly be lower in a trade. Teams are like, your blue line stinks, and like, can't make your team.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that because it's so obvious that he's the reason why he's not making the team has nothing to do with his talent. It has everything to do with, we have too many small defensemen already. And I think there will be some teams, especially analytically oriented teams, who may be like, might have a diamond in the rough there.
Get Tulsky on the phone, baby. Let's go.
I can't wait for him to have 30 points for Carolina this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. From Mark Canoli, is that what that says?
Yes.
If Michkov breaks 30 goals this year and improves next year, then we're looking at the Kaprizov contract for him.
No, because of the RFA.
Because of the
years.
RFA years. That's why I want to get it done
He'd
immediately.
still get a lot. But I don't think he's getting 17 mil a year right off his deal.
That's why I'm saying I want him locked up 8 for 10 rather than 8 for freaking 20, which is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. from Obi-Wan. Is there a world D'Lo starts on the Phantoms?
I don't see it.
No.
Maybe
Do
at the
you
press
think-
box, right? Not on
Press
the
box
Phantoms.
possible.
Yeah.
I
Not
bet you
Phantoms.
he'd get claimed.
Oh, I think he would too.
I think you could trade if you really wanted to.
You could trade him for like
you
a
could
third.
trade him. Not a third, but a late round pick. I think you could trade him for like a fifth. You might not be able to do it every day, but what you have to be ready for is that first time that, like, I don't know, Detroit loses a game and Dylan Larkin gets beat up, and then Steve Yzerman wakes up and is like, "Get me the toughest guy on the market," and then he hits up the GM group chat, and then Danny can be like, "Give us a fifth and we'll give you D'Lo." He's like, "Done."
You up?
You can make a trade like that. You might not be able to make it every day, but there will be times during the year if you want to trade Nick Deslauriers, you could. I just don't think they want to trade him. I think they like having him on the team.
Linden49 asks, guys, how bad did the Wild just screw the league?
I don't think they screw the league.
When McDavid comes in under this number, that's that. Like,
No,
outliers
that's
sometimes.
screwing his coworkers is what that is.
Oh, I think it's helping he's helping his immediate coworkers. It's not him helping the league as a whole.
Not a
Like,
no real solidarity. there.
It's helping his Edmonton teammates.
These outlier contracts aren't always sticky. Like, I feel like one happens, you go, oh, well, this is the going rate. And then every GM pushes back and goes, no, we're not paying $17 million. I don't care how good you are. Like, especially for not a premium position, center or 1D. I don't know if this is the new bar. When McDavid signs, I think that will be, and then everyone has, well, you're not better than McDavid.
Yeah.
Like, this is the situation Minnesota's in, because Minnesota, outside of two guys going home and not really even giving that team much of a discount, like on mega deals that they're still paying because they had to get bought out. Minnesota's had a lot of trouble attracting guys like this. They had to do whatever. And after he turned down 16, they're like, screw it, 17.
I mostly agree with what you said, but I disagree on one point. I think there is a decent chance that this is the new bar. However, I am of the opinion that for the last 15, 20 years, star players have been dramatically underpaid relative to their actual on-ice value.
100%.
And all this is doing is actually paying Kirill Kaprizov what he's actually worth.
And I realize, like, hockey,
Arguably still underpaid.
hockey is the fourth sport.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the revenue of the other games, TV contracts, all that. But it is funny we're talking about 17 million wrecking the league when it's like, yeah, Kyle Schwarber got 19 and a half, and it's like, yo, he's getting ripped off. Like, you know,
And it was not like a bench player in the NBA.
like, yeah, it's like not your best player.
Yeah.
It's like your third best player.
Yeah, like
Like-
okay, here's put into perspective. 17 mil, a lot of money. Still less than what Taiwan Walker makes this season.
Taiwan's at like 20.
He's at 18.
18.
18.
Yeah.
Who's that?
He's
A bad pitcher
He's
for
a
the Phillies.
bad pitcher for the Phillies.
He had an okay year.
Good chance he's not even on the postseason roster, and he is making more than what Kirill Kaprizov will make
He had
Good
an
for
okay
him.
year.
next year.
Obi-Wan says he just became a member. So we just, a
Hey.
diehard or a subscriber.
I would assume
a
it's a
supporters
YouTube
club.
It's gotta be
supporters
the
club.
YouTube.
Supporters
Yeah, the
club.
supporter thing.
Awesome.
That's
Well, welcome aboard, Obi.
Yeah.
All right. From our park, I just like to believe it's Richard
It
Park.
is Richard Park. 100%.
Back check, forecheck, paycheck. Ready to see Grebenkin this year. Let's go
too.
Flyers. That's something I didn't get to bring up. Talking about the guys, Charlie, you tweeted earlier about all the different players who were running on the power play. And yeah, there was like a 6 and 7 guy groups. It's probably not going to
Yeah,
be
they
legal
were
for them to do
rotating.
that.
Yeah.
Every guy on the list, though, was a roster lock. And then Nikita Grebenkin. It seems as if he's made the team in my mind.
It appears he's made the team. The way they had the jersey colors set up today at practice with the main group, the NHL group, they had 3 guys wearing blue jerseys, and it seemed like that was the, hey, you still have to earn your way onto the roster. It was Rodrigo Abols, it was Jett Luchanko, it was Jacob Gaucher. Nikita Grebenkin was wearing a normal color jersey. It sure seems like he's already made it.
And he has definitely earned it, in my opinion.
All right, from DA Flyers man. It's strangely endearing how much Kelly hates hockey players.
I don't hate them. I just think they're very stupid and boring.
She's advocating for them to get paid $30 million a year.
I want them to do things that are more in their interest than they normally do. They're like, you don't have to pack the boxes, bud. Like, you're rich. You can just pay somebody to move for you. Stop being boring and dumb. That's all.
I feel like, given how much you love the show Shoresy, there's no way you actually hate hockey players.
No. They're like big, dumb animals.
Okay, well, that's mean.
Like dogs that,
Lovable animals.
that like accidentally run into door frames because they're so doofy. Like, they're just...
A lot of them are not Shoresy level dumb.
I would say the
Canadian ones are all
smartest
pretty
ones
dumb.
always tend to be like the D'Los and the Hathaways. Like the more
Yes.
violent a player is,
Yes.
the more books he's read.
Right.
Which is very funny.
Yes.
It does tend to work out that way. You're not wrong.
Sometimes
Like
the
Connor
American
McDavid
ones
has
are
probably
smart, so
never
they
read The Great
college.
Gatsby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Garnet Hathaway went to an Ivy League
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I don't hate them. I love them. I just think they're dumb.
They just seem to operate outside their
I
own
want
interests
better
a
for
lot
them.
more.
Yes, I want better.
I did
for
very
them.
much enjoy that Joel Farabee was one of the few players who would go on the record saying he was dumb. It's like, yeah, I'm dumb.
Oh,
I
buddy,
know
we knew.
You don't need. Why? Like, I had to get smart because I couldn't play sports. Like, why would you? All the time you take to get excellent at sports, when do you have the time to get smart? The guys who are both are insane. All right. From Adam S. People are like, Bill's not smart. Adam S. Habs and their fans
Bill.
are scum. Go Flyers.
That is correct.
Adam, I love your hatred of the Habs. And finally, from JH, Charlie, why you got to bring Ty in here? Taiwan Walker in. Okay. I come here for happy things. He's had a good season. He's been good.
I could have brought up Adam Eaton.
If I ever see Adam Eaton, I'm gonna come away with his World Series ring because I deserve it more than he does. All right. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Season must be here as we go 11 minutes over. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and way to go, getting us over 200 likes.
Yeah.
Follow us. We're closing in on 50,000 followers here on Twitter. So make sure not on Twitter, on YouTube. Make sure you hit that follow button, set the reminder bell so you get notifications.
Yeah.
Follow us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. And make sure you follow the pod as well. Just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. Thank you to Julia. I am Bill. That is Charlie. That is Kelly. Till tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.